Hey guys, what's up? This is coming from GNA today. So I'll quickly want to show you how to disassemble the slide on the Taurus TX 22. So obviously we got to take it down first, drop the mag, check the chamber, double check, make sure there's nothing in there. Okay, pull the trigger, bring the slide back just a little bit, pull this tab down right here, this comes off. Okay, gonna pull the guide rod out. Okay, I've got the adapter, so I've got to pull the adapter off here real quick. Pull the barrel. Okay, and so we're going to take out to get down to the striker. So there's several pieces here inside of here. Okay, so the first thing is kind of Glock-esque. We've got to get this little slide cap off, and there's what they call the slide cap retainer. It's kind of a plunger that's behind the big spring that's pushing against this, but it's also what's pushing the striker forward. So you got to reach down in there and depress that. Now as you're depressing that, you're going to slide this down, and then obviously you're going to have to keep your finger over this because that spring is going to want to shoot that out. And then there's a little retainer. That little piece is polymer. Okay, then you go ahead and slide the cap out. And then there is the spring. From here, there's nothing holding this in. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide this out. And this is bringing the striker housing out. It's got the striker in there. It's also got the striker block and a tiny little spring for that, which I'll pull this out and show you. So you pull this out and you can see the striker sticking out right there. Okay, this little piece right here is the striker block, and then there's a little spring for that. And this is in two halves, so there's nothing holding this together. So this will just come straight apart right here. So what I would do is go ahead and take this little striker block off and its spring out, because it is tiny, and make sure you put that in a place where it's not going to get lost. Okay, from here this comes apart and you've got your striker, and then you have the striker housing. Okay, this striker housing is made out of polymer. This retainer is made out of polymer, and this slide cap is made out of polymer. The striker is some type of metal. Wouldn't be surprised if it's some type of MEM part. And this striker block is also some type of metal. So the only thing left to come out now is this spring right here, which is pushing the plunger to push on the extractor. And so I'm just gonna kinda, there it is. And so there's the plunger and the spring for the extractor. So at that point you have it basically taken all the way down. I know it's still not completely clean here, but unless you want to take this block out, you're going to have to knock that roll pin out, and I just don't want to do that. I don't want to take the chance on damaging that roll pin and then not being able to find the right size. And I don't think you can take the extractor out unless you take this impact block out. I don't think there's any way to do it. So at this point, that's as far as I'm going to take it. So what I did is I just sprayed ballast all down in here, up in here and here, and then I just took a toothbrush and just scrubbed in that pretty good. Right here, especially up in the top of the slide, is where carbon was really built up. So I had to let it soak there, and I got this cleaning piece right here in one of my cleaning kits, just some hard plastic, and I really had to just scrape and scrape to get all that stuff brought up from right there. Okay, and so in this channel right here where the striker goes, what I did is I just got this toothpick, and I just used this toothpick to go down in there and just kind of scrape in that channel and just try to get all the carbon out of there, because the only way you're going to be able to clean that is either by taking this block off or doing it like this, or getting something to push down in there to get all the little pieces out. Okay, at this point the extractor, plunger, and spring are going to have to go back in, and it has to key in like this. If you have it turned like this or any other degree beside this, it's not going to fit in there right. So let me put it back in there and show you what it looks like if it's not in the right way. So like that is not the right way, and the way you can tell is by how many coils you can count on that spring. Basically, if it's in the wrong way, you can count probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 coils there. So what we're gonna have to do is take it out and make sure that it goes in like this. And then at that point right there, you can tell you got it in the right way because there's only 3 or 4 coils that you can count now. And also at this point, I can feel that there is can feel that there's tension on the extractor. It's pushed up beside it where it's actually pushing it out. Okay, so now without having the striker block on here, you can see that the striker will come all the way forward right here to this place on the housing. Now whenever I put the striker block in, basically that tiny little piece that's hanging off right there, once it's pushed up and out of the way, it'll let the striker pass. But whenever it's in the down position, in other words, the trigger's not depressed pushing it up, it will keep the striker from going all the way forward. So I'll take this, set the striker, and I'm just going to hold it without putting the spring in there. And then, as I hold that striker block in place, you can see it leaves that little tiny bit of a gap there. And now push the striker block up, and then it comes forward and push it. Okay, push it down, and push it up, down, like that. All right, as I'm holding that, I'm gonna take the other half of this, and I'm gonna put it on there. It's got two tiny plastic little nipples right there that've got to fit into this side, right into those two little holes. Like that. And then now I'm going to take this spring. I'm going to take this tiny little spring. And put it where it's holding that in place. Okay, holding that together with my fingers now because there's nothing to hold those two housing pieces together. It's going to have to be to where this little polymer rail that runs down the side right here that sticks out just a little bit is what's going to fit up into this channel up inside here, inside of the slide. Okay, just like that. And I can see it's putting pressure and holding the extractor right. Okay, so from here, I'm just going to take the spring and this cap retainer. All right, so what I'm going to do is get this started in here. All right, so on this, just push down with your thumb. Kind of have to get right on the edge. Be careful because that thing will shoot up and launch. Because I'm holding that down with my thumb. Just get this to go over the top of it. Get it to clip in place. And then I can feel the striker coming back. I can feel spring tension on the extractor. It's going back and forth like it should. The striker block right here is moving good. And what I'm going to do is push this pin down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is push this little striker block down and then see if I can push the striker forward far enough where you can see the striker protruding. And if I leave it like that, that's being held in place, but when I pull the striker back, you'll hear it click. That's that spring pushing that striker block back in place. And then from there, it won't go forward until the trigger is depressed and pushes that striker block so that the striker can come forward again. And then here on the barrel, the way the striker hits, it's going to be exactly at 12 o'clock, I think, right up at the top. And I have dry fired this thing a whole bunch of times. And you can see there is zero peening on that face there. So like the designer said, it's completely dry fire safe. Put it back together. Again, just make sure there's nothing in the chamber. Safety goes on, everything feels good. All right, there you go. Disassembly of the Taurus TX 22 slide assembly. This is coming from G&A today. Thanks for watching.